Okay, targeted individuals. I'm gonna get on a trippy. I've never made a video about it before. I watch them all the time, and to be honest with you, it makes me feel really good to see. Unfortunately, to see people going through the exact same things I'm going through, and just that it's one of those feelings that you think nobody can understand. It's like everyone goes through deaths in the family, things like that, but the targeted individual thing, you're assuming, like, even if there are other targeted individuals, they're not going to understand what the hell's going on with me. And yet you do, because the answer to that is, oh, I can't even imagine what's going on with him, but I know it's as crazy as my situation, right? So, with that said, a lot of people, I think, are finding out, because I haven't checked, YouTube for targeted individuals in about a year or so. And I notice now that what's become more accepted is the awareness that it's not the government. Or it's not, it may not be the government, and if it is, it's because they're being under duress. And why it is that you're being targeted. Because I remember seeing like a movie about it, from England, or a little documentary. And one of the guys said he thought that it was because he was homosexual and that he was being bashed, gay bashed by the neighbors. Like, that's why they were gang stalking him and all that. And I knew immediately, because the gang stalking didn't come first. And I'm curious how many people out there have been gang stalked for a long time. I'm hearing stories of like 10, 15 years or their whole life, and did not know why. They had no idea why that was happening to them. That's kind of crazy thing to me, because for me, I knew something was going on where I knew there was some other purpose in life. Mainly, like, I'm kind of on the psychic tip, if you want to call it that. I'm not that kind of guy, but I became that kind of guy really quick. And so I knew, just from street smarts, it's got to be somewhat dangerous, because, you start realizing that there's good and bad in this world. And that the bad, if you're helping people, that there's going to be opposition to that. Even if it's with people that they know and you're helping them and you're not really out for any nefarious reasons. And so when I started getting really kind of, like, I would call it like harassed. And these things were not necessarily by gang stalking groups or people. But when they are by people, my assumption right away was, these people aren't working for the government. These people are not working even for a crisis actor company. These people are possessed. And I don't think there's a single individual around me. It's funny, the ones that seem to be more, and some of them are that way because they are working for the other team, by the way. But I think that they're essentially getting mentally abducted. And to me, I don't understand that, because we all kind of know where our destinies lie, in the sense that, like, we've always done what, now that we see that there's something different about us, that's a burden. But also, we're like, wow, my whole life, this has been kind of a thing for me, where, like, this is a position I wanted to take, like almost like in an activist role. And then you start realizing, wow, this is more than just me in this life wanting to do this. Apparently I'm connected to some people, famous people or something in the past, or that are dead, that were in the same boat as I was, you know what I mean? For the same cause. It's not just that your mind is assuming, oh, well, I want this to be the reason why. You start realizing why things are happening in your life and why you got placed where you did. And so the thing that I think is so interesting is you can reverse engineer their targeting. Because, I talk. I'm a talker. And I post all kinds of truths on Facebook, you know what I mean? And I defy it's stupid, but that's really kind of one of my things. But I'm also a diplomat, where I've always been the negotiator between enemies. I've never really picked, I can pick a side, which is the good side. But it's never hurt the bad side that I'm around. Does that make any sense? And so it irritates me on that level. It makes me much more on the good side, because I almost have this feeling of, like, don't you know who I am? Like, I'm not like some good guy you need to be worried about. I'm the guy that helps you out when you get, when you guys lose. You know what I mean? Like, that's just one of the things in my life. But one of the elements that's really shocking of this is, okay, we have targeted individuals. These people are very gifted. They're talented. They're quirky. There's something different. They're artistic. No one's discussed this element of it. When you say you're targeted, what do people say? You're crazy, you're psycho, you're imagining it, and you're on drugs. How many of you are on drugs? that makes it double as worse, doesn't it? But have you noticed it? If anything, it depends on what you're on, but it increases your awareness to it. And you're somewhat protected by it. And that was shocking to me when that happened. And, you know, without going into it, what I began to realize was I had really fallen into the whole man-made law thing regarding, I mean, I'm sure that addiction and the destruction of family and stealing and all those things that come about with using illegal drugs are clearly not going to be supported by the good guys. Clearly. But that's an assumption that people make, that everybody who would dabble or use or even a, what do they call, a functioning alcoholic is doing. So you got to remember, you're making false judgments when you're saying, hey, all these people, if you use cocaine, you automatically get 5 years. You know, they changed that law, you know, regarding crack and powder cocaine. And I began to notice that what was happening was, it was as if God was standing up with me when I was using. Because it was being used as something against me, and it was a target. It was one of the reasons they were targeting me. And I thought they had a valid case. And then that was really shot down. That's been shot down many times by, you know, assistants when they step in. You know what I'm saying? When they step in, they're not going to step in. But maybe you're on the bad team, right? No, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And also, I tend to get targeted after I do something that's like positive or uplifting or trying to help other people. Or I've suffered for a long time and you know, nothing's really worked out for me. You know, eventually it does come around. You do get paid back. You know, everything, there's a duality to everything. You lose a lot of money in Vegas, and the next trip you might win the jackpot. You never know. And it doesn't happen on your schedule, which is a problem I have. The biggest thing that ever got retribution, if you want to call it that, from whatever it is that's targeting us, was I was at a McDonald's, and there was a guy ahead of me, and he was clearly targeting the cashier in a method that I would call targeted individual ways. He wasn't just being rude. He was being like supernaturally weird to the guy. And I could tell the guy was nervous and trying to play it off, and he's working at McDonald's, so what is he going to say? I would have snapped. So when it was my turn, I go up to him and I go, wow, you really got targeted right there. That guy totally targeted you. That's crazy. You know, how long have you been targeting individual? This guy in McDonald's, he's a black guy, just starts crying. Because no one had ever said anything to him about that. See, we're all in our bubbles. I didn't realize that. What? That targeted individuals, you can see when other people are being targeted. You can tell that it's not just a fight, or it's not just a harassment of somebody. If you scan the field of operations, man, you can tell who your comrades are, because you can tell that they're being harassed in a certain way. People in line at the supermarket. I used to always hate it when people whined and complained about, well, wait. But some people are valid. They have a valid point, and you realize the cashier is targeting them. You know, there's something about the store management that's targeting them. And you can tell the difference between that and just an annoying customer. And I thought that wasn't that big of a deal. Now, when that happened, that sort of really pissed off one of the sides, because they want you to be isolated. The YouTube videos are enough. They don't want anyone in public to be like, hey, you think you're the only one that suffered just now, but I saw that guy do that to you, and I know what it means, and I know that in your life you're a targeted person like that. And it made this kid's day. And it shocked me that happened, and I was like, another part of my connection. That's almost part of the soldier element of it all. Because, you know, of course, there's no, you know, you don't take out swords and kill people as much as it is. I have no fear because I know fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had many near deaths and things like that. I'm not saying I'm cool, but clearly I'm supposed to be in enemy territory at times and be able to deal with the enemy, even if that means in a bad way. And sometimes I don't come out the good way at all. In fact, it's left me damaged severely, but I keep going. It's an interesting thing God's put in my genetics, where the more bullets you shoot at him, the more he stands up and the more he comes at you. I don't know why that is, because it's really stupid. You know, what do they say? A coward is someone that runs away from a fear. A timid person is someone who hesitates when they see a fear. And a brave person is someone who realizes a week later, what am I doing? that it was a big fear that should have never done it. And that's me. You know, it's always a week later I go, what the fuck was I thinking, dude? That's crazy. While everyone else is thinking, wow, man, you're a hero. You saved the, you know, chick from getting raped or something like that. where I'm like, that guy had a gun. What am I thinking? But at the time, I wasn't. But a week later, it's like I sober up, no pun intended, and it hits me. I wouldn't do that if you told me I was going to do that, but I did it. So it's really not, wow, I'm brave. It's more like the Holy Spirit's with us, man. God bless my family. God bless all of you. That's all of you, my family. Peace.